The Supreme Court has just dropped a bombshell that will change the face of gun ownership in America forever. An 8-1 emergency order has been issued that immediately affects virtually every gun permit in the nation. Concealed carry holders, collectors, and law-abiding citizens are now faced with a situation that could instantly render their permits invalid. Millions of Americans are waking up to a legal reality they never anticipated. Your Second Amendment rights, as you've known them, are being rewritten. States are scrambling to interpret the ruling. Law enforcement agencies are trying to issue guidance, and the courts are flooded with emergency motions seeking clarification. Nobody knows how this will settle in the coming weeks, and delays could put ordinary citizens at risk of penalties or criminal liability. This emergency order is unprecedented. The Supreme Court's 8-1 decision emphasizes federal authority over state-issued gun permits. In practical terms, that means your state permit, the one you obtained after months of checks, training, and fees, may now be contested or considered invalid under federal scrutiny. Imagine completing every legal step required to carry a firearm responsibly, only to wake up one morning and discover that your legal standing has been completely upended. The decision explicitly instructs lower courts and authorities to review the validity of permits nationwide, leaving millions in uncertainty and forcing immediate action. Legal scholars are warning that the ruling sets a precedent that could permanently alter the interpretation of the Second Amendment, affecting ownership, carrying, and even the type of firearms considered legally permissible. Let's break this down step by step so you understand the stakes. Step 1. If you currently hold a permit, do not assume you are safe. Local law enforcement agencies are already reviewing the Supreme Court guidance to determine which permits need suspension, revocation, or reissuance. Step 2. If you are planning to apply for a new permit, the process may be drastically changed or temporarily halted, depending on your state's response. Step 3. Firearm possession without a valid permit may now carry stricter penalties than ever before, including fines, confiscation, and possible criminal charges. This is not hypothetical. The legal landscape has shifted overnight, and understanding the specifics of the ruling is essential for anyone who owns or carries firearms. Consider real-life scenarios to understand the impact. A concealed carry holder in Texas, fully compliant with state regulations, could suddenly find federal authorities contesting the validity of their permit. A collector in New York, who legally owns multiple firearms, could face challenges regarding whether each gun remains legally registered or permitted. For families in suburban states, parents who legally purchased firearms for home protection could face penalties if permits are invalidated before new regulations are clarified. Across the nation, gun owners are left in a state of legal limbo, facing uncertainty that affects daily life, personal safety, and property rights. The Supreme Court decision also redefines the balance of power between federal and state authorities. Historically, states had considerable discretion in issuing permits, creating variations in concealed carry laws, waiting periods, background checks, and eligibility criteria. This ruling asserts that federal oversight can now supersede those state-issued permits, effectively centralizing control over gun ownership. That means the authority to determine who can legally possess a firearm is no longer strictly in the hands of individual states. Legal analysts warn that this centralization could pave the way for uniform nationwide restrictions, limiting the freedom of law-abiding Americans to carry firearms as permitted under prior state laws. Immediate action is crucial. Step 1. Verify your permit status with your local issuing authority without delay. Call, email, or check online databases to see whether your permit is affected. Step 2, document everything. Keep a detailed record of your permit application, approval, and any correspondence or notifications. Step 3, consult a qualified attorney specializing in firearm law. This is not optional. Casual advice or internet speculation will not protect you if enforcement actions begin. Step 4, stay informed. Federal and state authorities are issuing updates and guidance, and further court decisions are likely to follow. Staying ahead of these developments can mean the difference between compliance and unintended legal violations. Now let's explore the broader implications. This emergency order is not just about permits. It is a signal that the legal interpretation of the Second Amendment is entering a new era. Courts are now considering the federal government's power to impose uniform rules on firearm ownership, potentially limiting the rights of law-abiding citizens in ways not seen in decades. Restrictions may now extend beyond permits to include purchasing limitations, the types of firearms allowed, and rules for home ownership. Law-abiding citizens may face new obligations, reporting requirements, and compliance checks. Some states may attempt to resist or reinterpret the ruling, but the federal supremacy indicated by this emergency order makes prolonged resistance legally complex and risky. Realistic scenarios are emerging across the country. Imagine a retiree in Florida legally carrying a handgun for self-defense, being told that their permit is no longer valid under federal interpretation. Or a law-abiding hunter in Montana who has always complied with state licensing being forced to surrender privileges due to reinterpretation of federal law. Or consider a small business owner in California who uses firearms for security. The legal ambiguity could threaten both personal safety and business liability. These are not isolated cases. Millions of Americans are now facing a new reality where the legal protection previously afforded by state permits is in question. Preparation is your best defense. Step 1. Create a clear file of all documentation related to firearm ownership, including purchase receipts, permit applications, training certifications, and previous correspondence with authorities. Step 2. Understand the specific language of the Supreme Court order. While legal documents are dense, key phrases in the order indicate the scope of federal authority and permit validity. Step 3. If any enforcement actions are threatened or initiated, do not ignore them. Immediate response through legal channels is necessary to protect your rights. Step 4. Communicate with local firearm organizations, advocacy groups, and legal experts who can provide guidance and resources during this unprecedented situation. Step 5. Educate yourself continuously. This emergency order is just the beginning. Additional rulings, clarifications, and legislative action are expected in the coming months. Staying informed is not optional, it is essential. Consider the potential long-term consequences. This emergency order could redefine the Second Amendment for decades. Future cases may challenge ownership limits, carrying privileges, and the federal government's role in regulating firearms. New legislation could be enacted at the federal level to codify restrictions suggested by this ruling. State-level variances could disappear, creating uniform national restrictions. For law-abiding gun owners, this means increased scrutiny, potential limitations on carrying, and a legal landscape that requires constant vigilance. The era of taking firearm rights for granted is over. Compliance, documentation, and awareness are now critical. To summarize, the Supreme Court's 8-1 emergency order has reshaped gun permit laws across the United States. Permits may be suspended, contested, or revoked. Immediate verification and legal consultation are necessary. Federal authority now supersedes state discretion, signaling a profound shift in Second Amendment interpretation. Real-world implications include potential fines, confiscation, and criminal liability if compliance is ignored. The legal environment is changing rapidly, and staying informed is the single most important step any gun owner can take. Document everything, consult experts, and prepare for further updates. This is the time to act. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications immediately. Share this information with friends, family, and anyone who owns a firearm. Ignorance is no longer an option, and timely action could protect your rights, your safety, and your property. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay compliant. This emergency order is not just a news story, it is the new reality for gun owners nationwide. The time to prepare, understand, and respond is now. Don't wait until enforcement actions begin. Protect yourself, protect your family, and ensure that your rights under the Second Amendment are preserved in this new unprecedented era.